What is a seemingly mundane question you can ask somebody that will tell you a lot about their personality? By Ask Reddit.
Did I just see you digging through the trash?
I didn't know we were playing Stardew Valley.
F you, Alex, I hate you anyways.
It's usually Lewis that catches me. I somehow never notice that he's standing right in front of his house LMAO.
Yeah bro, everything in there is free. Free. They just let you take it.
What would you do if you won the lottery? For me, it's a non-invasive way of listening to people's attitudes on finance in general, and also how they feel about the rich.
Yes, this is a brilliant question. When I was newly dating my ex-boyfriend, it was around the time Super Lotto hit $1 billion a couple years ago. We were both in lottery ticket pools and discussed what we'd do if we won. His answer mortified me. It included how, if he were married, he'd divorce his wife and travel the world on a yacht doing DG surrounded by hot women. Big red flag for me.
Wow. Of all the things, that is definitely something you don't say to your girlfriend.
The real Lotto win was finding this out early in the relationship.
I always say that I'd turn into an absolutely abhorrent degenerate if I were to suddenly get a cash prize like that. But in reality I just say that because I get a laugh out of people's reactions from that. I don't even know what I'd do, probably just quit working, find a music teacher and play bass and video games all day long.
It's possible he was just effing with me, but I tend to think he wasn't. We're friends now, not dating, and he still occasionally says things that completely bewilder me.
First things first, I'm going to get a financial advisor. I have no idea what to do with that much money, and I don't want to end up a mess.
Same here. My first thought about winning the lottery is, how do you go about finding a reliable financial advisor when you've just won the lottery and everybody is suddenly offering financial advice to you?
Go straight to Reddit, of course.
None.
There it is. I knew it would be here. I love this answer and try to read it at least once a year, you know, in case LOL.
What book would you like to live in?
A really, really big one.
Practical, I see.
Wikipedia, the offline version.
This is a tough one for those of us who like dystopia and historical fiction LOL.
Yup. I literally just thought to myself, well, all the books I read are nightmares, do I pick the least terrible?
Larger but not near Tom Bombadil, is up to some secretly dark poo.
Hanging out with Tom Bombadil would be one of the few decent places to be in Middle-earth.
My father-in-law went on a job interview about 10 years ago and absolutely nailed the interview. As he was being shown around the office, a high-level person in that company who normally wasn't there just happened to be there that day. After they were introduced, he asked my Phil what kind of animal he would be. My Phil said he panicked and picked bear. He's a bigger guy. And the other guy said something along the lines of, "That's a little too aggressive, maybe this isn't the job for you." So he didn't get the job, but I guess it worked out because he's got a pretty good job now, and if I was him I wouldn't want to work for someone who hires people based on what animal they think they would be.
Bullet dodged. That sounds like an awful place to work.
Same thought. If a company would kick you out for everything good but one minor choice, I don't think working there will be happy. Good boss know the strength and weakness of the colleagues. One failure do not necessarily mean bad. Edit. Sorry, I didn't mean fail. English is not my native tongue. I meant some like an answer that is not what the boss want.
The right answer was, I'd be a parasite that lives in your eye and eats away your optical nerves.
Oh, you sound like you'd be good in management.
None.
The guy should have asked the follow-up question, why did you choose the bear? Cause a bear is not always associated with an aggressive animal, but can also be associated with a tough-looking guy who really loves cuddles and is a sweetheart. The explanation says more about a person than a one-worded answer. This actually applies to a lot of answers.
Exactly. People have different associations with different animals. Bears literally sleep all winter and then just eat blueberries all summer. Right.
When I think of bears, the first thing I think about is their quiet dignity, and also that they sometimes do stretches that look a bit like yoga.
Wow, that is so effed up, that guy's a pohead.
I bet the Oscar picked bear himself, and didn't want two bears in the same office.
I have a former colleague, now my manager, who literally said there cannot be two alphas in a team. Some people really behave this way. And I have reasons to believe he did push the supervisor to have a colleague fired.
What are you having for dinner tonight? It's really cool to hear about what people like, what their culture is like, because food is a huge part of that, and generally just how they live. Expensive or cheap? Quick or elaborate? Adventurous or safe?
Ham, mustard, maybe some baby carrots if they aren't bad yet. I might try to make that garlic bread, but it's been in the freezer for like 3 years now.
What was the last thing you did that gave you childlike joy?
My 14-year-old asked for a longboard last spring. I'd said no before because I figured it'd be something I spend a few $100 on that she'd try once, not be good at right away, and never touch it again. It wouldn't be the first time. After being locked up for 2 months with quarantine, I figured why not? It gets her outside and maybe something she'll enjoy. At that point I just wanted to get her out of her room and off her phone. I'd never seen her work so hard at something she wasn't good at right away. After 2 back-to-back 6-hour days of practice, she started to get the hang of it and asked me if I wanted try. I couldn't even stand on a board when I was a kid, but as an adult I just got it. I wasn't on it 5 minutes and I said, I need one. We left right then and picked one up for myself. We cruised all spring, summer, and fall. Not only was it great for bonding, I hadn't felt that kind of joy since I was little. A moment I'll never forget. Can't wait for the snow to melt.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. First, I'm impressed she practiced for so many hours. Second, I love that you got it and wanted to go get one so you could do it together.
And I said, I need one. More like, get your own, Dad. You've been hogging it all day.
This sounds so stupid to type out, but dancing. Like actually dancing by myself in the mirror. Feeling the beat and just being silly. Super therapeutic. 10/10 would recommend to just let loose.
I found this old pair of stick-on nails, with little cats, that had googly eyes, so I got my sister to help me put them on with the help of some nail glue.
Listen to Rainbow Connection by Kermit the Frog on Spotify last Friday.
Just reading this gave me joy. Slapping my boyfriend's butt and then running away giggling.
Does playing with my son count? He's a child who frequently exhibits childlike joy, of which I am symbiotic parasite. That seems kinda like cheating at this question.
Does Mike Witsoski blink or wink?
Depends on how he's holding his mouth.
You are truly one of the great thinkers of our time.
I was so confused about this question at first. I've become so used to two-eyed Mike during my time on Reddit.
Got this one in an interview once. How do you go about eating a muffin? Learned a lot about muffin anatomy that day. It was a bakery after all. None edit2, also known as Stumps, yes. This was a highfalutin place, so they preferred to refer to them as stems.
Ho, I knew a guy at uni that sat at his desk, naked, and just slammed his face down into M like a dog eating out of a bowl. Guy was weird F.
I knew a guy. Sure you did, naked muffin-eating man. Typical final stage teenager.
Go on.
None.
I had a tar ask me in a get-to-know-you activity what my vision was for a perfect world. And I said round LOL.
That would have been awkward if your ta was a flat earther.
What superpower they want?
I know there are more powerful powers that could get me wealth or whatever, but man, teleportation would be dope. Can travel the world but always sleep in your own bed and never need to book a flight. Never need to use a public restroom. Easily visit family. Only take road trips if I want. Can live and work anywhere. The rest of life could be normal, but it'd be great.
Work. Bro, teleport in and out of bank vault.
None.
I love this question because this girl I knew in college had just the best answer. She said, the power to fill things, and after I looked at her kind of funny, she said, you know, like filling my bank account with money, filling my belly with spaghetti, or filling me enemies' bladders with urine.
Bruh, you should have married her.
She would have filled your heart with joy and happiness.
The ability to change probability. You could theoretically control anything. What's the probability I'll ace this test? Make it 100%. What's the probability of me winning the lottery? 100%. What's the probability I'll finally catch Alice cheating on me? 100%.
In the long run, success only matters if there was a possibility of failure. You'd eventually start forcing bad outcomes just to feel something again. And now you're a supervillain.
With how much you've been able to achieve by being able to change probability, I think it would be an incredibly long time before you decide to do something sinister, unless you already had sinister motives before.
Just change the probability of feeling something without causing harm. It's that easy.
The power to create, change, and freely access my own personal pocket dimension. No rent, no property taxes, no carbon footprint, and you always have your entire living space with all of your stuff with you. You could be as nomadic or settled as you want, you'd never have to worry about natural or financial disasters making you homeless, and your commute to work wouldn't even exist unless you wanted it to. Distance would no longer be an obstacle between you and seeing your friends and family.
Fave question I heard in an interview: what would you do if you came home and found a penguin in your freezer? It ends up not only being an icebreaker, but a good personality tell.
Is the penguin dead or alive?
African penguin or European penguin?
How do you know so much about penguins?
When you're job hunting, you have to know these sort of things.
Do you, by any chance, know about swallows and their behavior while carrying a coconut?
He could grip it by the husk.
It's not a question of where he grips it. It's a simple question of weight ratios. A 5-ounce bird could not carry a 1-pound coconut.
Name him Pen Pen.
Prepare for the third impact.
Call the local zoo. What are the alternative answers? Feed it a fishy?
New pet, exotic dinner, paint pinata, dance partner, forbidden lover, target practice, fun new display piece after a bit of at-home amateur taxidermy, super realistic head for a fursuit, really ineffective disco ball, pen holder. All you need is a little imagination.
Things got really dark 2 words into that comment.
It really was a roller coaster of emotions on that one. After every comma, a new surprise.
Are you in favor of homeowner associations?
This is a good one because everyone who is familiar with them has such strong reactions. Yeah, I knew a guy that was a co-worker in a different department. Apparently he was on the HOA board in his neighborhood and loved it. He was a total asshole at work, so I knew that he terrorized his neighbors.
Just moved to a community with an HOA and holy effing POO, I want to carpet bomb the chairman's house. Classic douchebag rich HOA chairman straight out of a 90s sitcom. We had to tear out concrete for a little basketball area on the south side of our house because, and I'm not kidding on this, he just didn't want to have concrete outside of his bedroom window view. He wrote the covenant rules so that he can veto and order any landscaping project on behest of the HOA chairman.
None.
As long as the rule is framed as meant to keep the community looking nice, they can basically do whatever the F they want.
Yup. Visited a friend who lived in one. Was living out of my van at the time, and it wasn't the prettiest thing. One night, parked in his driveway, someone had my van towed, effing all my worldly possessions. Turns the F out there was some effing clause that no personal vehicle could be older than X year in the neighborhood under penalty of immediate removal. I wanted to effing rip their throats out so bad. Patrick Swayze style. Mother effers.